I want to welcome everybody and point out that Chancellor Green is here with us, and Coach Frost and others will be introduced here shortly. Shortly after I was hired, which by coincidence was 2 years ago today, started having conversations centered around an opportunity to play a football game in Ireland. Good conversations. I wasn't even sure who our football coach was going to be in 2021, but they had to, of course, Scott had to be involved in these decisions. But it was intriguing to me for several reasons. One, maybe most important, is experience for these young men, members of our team, who I would guess probably 70% of them would never have a passport and have an opportunity to go on a trip like this. Also, for the exposure for this great university on not only a national stage but an international stage, which really will showcase our brand, and on an exclusive 0-week window that when people want to watch college football, and they're all going to be hungry for it as they're coming out of the summer, the first one they're going to see, and probably one of the better ones, is going to be the Huskers playing Illinois in Ireland. So that's going to be exceptionally important to us as well. And of course our fans. Hey, if you're traveling from Scotts Bluff and Alliance to get to Lincoln, hopping over the pond to get to Ireland's no big deal. And I have every reason to believe that they're going to show up in mass, and we'll turn that beautiful green country into Husker red. So my conversations have been with my good friend John Anthony. We have a wonderful relationship, a business relationship and a friendship. We've been talking about this, as I mentioned, for almost 2 years, and here it's come to fruition. So, John, please come up here and let us welcome you. Really appreciate this.
Well, thank you all for joining us today to talk about this very exciting news for Nebraska and for Ireland. We're thrilled, on behalf of Irish American Events, we're thrilled to welcome the Nebraska football team, the University of Nebraska, and the whole Husker Nation to what will undoubtedly be an experience that people will be talking about for a lifetime and beyond their own, and be telling their grandkids about someday. So the game will be outstanding for sure, but as you're going to hear us talk about, and as you saw a little bit in the video, we call this much more than a game, because there is so much more that we want to engage everybody with. The whole Nebraska faithful will experience a whole lot of fun, culture, education, business, and some football too. So in a few minutes I'll introduce my partner from Ireland on Irish American Events. But before I do, I'll just quickly address 3 questions that we've gotten quite a bit and go through those. How did this come about? Why Nebraska? And what now? So how did this come about? As Bill mentioned, we've been talking about this for a couple of years. But going back, we've had 4 other games in Ireland so far. And after the 2016 game, the Irish supporters stepped forward and said they'd like to do a 5-game series, and they'd like to get that launched in 2020 with a rematch of the Notre Dame Navy, who have played there twice already. So we were immediately then looking at 2021 and forward. And I went and visited Jim Delaney at the Big Ten office to talk to him about it and talk about what the Big Ten could do around this. And he was nice enough to invite me to an upcoming meeting of the athletic directors and administrators from all the schools. Walked into a room. There were probably 50-plus people in this room just to tell them in 5 minutes or less about the Ireland experience. And even though it was, as I say, somewhat like this, but a large room, 50-plus people, you would have sworn that I was a high school kid focused on one girl at the dance, because with 50 people there, I stared at Bill the entire time. And I was so locked in on getting Nebraska for the first team from the Big Ten over, because this is a special place, and you were the beauty of the ball for us. So we're thrilled that we've come to this now, as you said, about 23 months later. So along that way, we had a lot of conversations with everybody here about it, but none more important and impactful than the one with Coach Frost, who I already knew his reputation was focused completely on the student-athlete experience. So we were able to show him not so much what you saw there, but what the previous players have said who have participated, what those student-athletes have said about that experience and what it meant to them. And that was what really, I think, probably, I'll let him speak for himself, but I think that resonated with him and thought it would be great for your program as well. Secondly, why Nebraska? It's pretty obvious, I think, to everybody. Football is so prominent, so excellent, has such great tradition here. Currently on the rise, great trajectory, and we have had some teams use this game actually as a springboard to a really a notable season, including an undefeated season when someone opened in Ireland with Notre Dame in 2012. So where your program is right now and where you're headed, it just seems like Nebraska football is the place to be. And so we'll be thrilled for having you kick off your 21 season there. The other reason why Nebraska, obviously, is the Husker Nation. The fan base here is well known throughout the sport, throughout the country. Nobody can match a Nebraska fan with how you travel. The knowledge, the loyalty, the respect for the game. The Husker Nation is something very special. I need to admit to those here, I do live in South Bend, Indiana, and so I was in the stadium in 2000 for the famous Sea of Red, and I've never forgotten it. And so now to be able to capitalize on that for Ireland, we want that whole Sea of Red to take over Dublin and the country of Ireland, like you did South Bend, Indiana, 19 years ago. So question number 3, what now? Obviously, we've got all the team logistics to work out, and we have a great program in place that can take care of that and is almost turnkey for them. For everybody else, it's huskers2ireland.com. It's probably, it's on there, the number 2, huskers2ireland.com, has all the information. That will be updated throughout time, as is collegefootballireland.com. Those are the 2 websites that we keep information current about the game. Talks about everything that everyone can do when they go over. I'm happy to say 24 hours into this since the announcement, the Husker Nation has done exactly what we were hoping. They have set a record for first day sales of any of these games by a considerable margin. And so I guess I will leave by pointing out that in 2012 we had the largest movement of Americans in a peacetime effort ever to Europe in a single movement. When Notre Dame Navy played there, there were 35,000 Americans that went over. It was the largest movement of international travelers for a single sporting event, not a multi-event like a Olympics, but for a single sporting event with 35,000 Americans. And so we're here today to say, let's go after that. Notre Dame in particular on that one had 28,000 fans. So I think it's fair to issue a challenge today to the Husker Nation. Let's get to 29,000 Husker fans taking over Ireland for a Sea of Red in Dublin in 2021. And at this point, to turn over to Ireland, I will introduce Pádraig O'Kane. He is our partner in Irish American events, and you may notice that he doesn't speak quite the exact same way that I do.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Chancellor, Athletic Director, Coach. On behalf of the Aer Lingus Steering Committee, which includes the Irish Government and the City of Dublin, we formally like to welcome this fixture and welcome the University of Nebraska to Ireland in 2021. The last weekend in August from 2020 will not only be about 2 college football teams meeting on Irish turf, but about 2 great American educational institutions and their armies of alumni and fans engaging with Ireland on many levels: academic, cultural, social, business, and of course sport. Next year Notre Dame will play Navy, and in 2021 preparations now commence to welcome the University of Nebraska, the University of Illinois, and the Big Ten Conference. The steering committee of the Aer Lingus College Football Classics series is charged with ensuring the potential of these weekends is realised. Hosting college football games in Dublin is not only about bringing the spectacle and the drama of gridiron to an Irish audience, but they are of course welcome to enjoy the pageantry, colour and excitement of the entire weekend, and nobody does pageantry like you or US cousins. The Irish Prime Minister, Aaron Taoiseach, last October announced a 5-game series which will see Ireland welcome 120,000 visitors whose combined spend will top €250 million. Illinois and Nebraska are a very welcome game 2 of this series. The game will be played on August 28, 2021 at the Aviva Stadium, Dublin, which is the international home stadia of Irish rugby and Irish football, better known in these parts as soccer. The stadium is usually filled with a sea of green, as is all our seats, etc., but we hear a very strong rumour that there's going to be a sea of red there in 2021. The stadium sits on the grounds of the oldest stadium in Europe, and under the stewardship of Martin Murphy, a great friend of college football in Ireland, the stadium was completely redeveloped in 2010 and today enjoys state-of-the-art facilities as part of a 51,000 seat capacity, including a dedicated level for private hospitality suites. The teams will play for the Keogh Nocturne Perpetual Trophy, which is on display here today. Georgia Tech are the current holders. Don Keogh, who I believe went to school in Nebraska, and Martin Nocton believe strongly that the Irish-American partnership only worked well if it was equally supported on both sides of the Atlantic. It was these two guys' ambition to bring Irish-American college football games to Dublin on a regular basis. We are delighted that the Aer Lingus College Football Classic has made their ambition a reality. When college football returned to Dublin in 2020, us Irish locals had no idea what a tailgate, a pep rally, or why you would even contemplate having 90-odd players on a team. However, thanks to Google and help from our US colleagues, including John, and many visits to many stadiums here in the States, we now get it. Well, we think we get it. We look forward to introducing you to our Gaelic games, both hurling and football, which is played by 15 players a side on a field 3 times the size of an American football field. For Game Week 2021, we can guarantee Nebraska and Illinois an experience of a lifetime. We will take all your college football traditions on tour and introduce Irish hospitality, Irish fun and Irish weather. As part of our much more than a game tagline, we look forward to developing and executing academic, business and cultural programmes individual to Nebraska, including the established profile US-Ireland annual CEO lunch that takes place in the Mansion House on the Friday afternoon, which is the home of our Lord Mayor. In addition, we look forward to developing, in partnership with the universities, a student athlete programme that is not just exclusive to the football team, but includes band, cheer and other college sports that wishes to travel and then combine student athletes to enjoy and experience the culture and traditions that Ireland has to offer. We are also delighted to welcome and encourage high schools to travel and play in Ireland as part of Game Week 2021 and encourage you to identify those, and we'd gladly do a presentation to them to be part of the experience in Dublin. As John mentioned, travel and hospitality packages went on sale yesterday, and we have seen brisk interest from both schools to date, in particular those in red. Ladies and gentlemen, this game offers huge publicity potential, practical economic benefits and a genuine expression of the close ties between our two countries. Irish-American events are honoured to promote and operate such profile annual events under the umbrella of much more than a game as part of the Aer Lingus College Football Series. It's a real Team Ireland public-private partnership win. A special note must go to Aer Lingus, our national airline carrier, who operates out of 14 hubs here in the United States and is one of the largest carriers from the United States to Europe. Fáilte Ireland, Tours Ireland and Dublin City Council, who collectively believed in our vision. An equal special note of thanks must go to the University of Nebraska for joining us on a journey of a lifetime in 2021 with Irish hospitality and fun as standard. Go Big Red. Thank you.